Hello and welcome. This is AMECO Heber English Service and you're watching our daily updates live from the studio. I'm Gaila Damu. Just stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy calls on scholars to play their proper role for Ethiopia's sovereignty and lasting peace. A national consultation forum of scholars was held today in Addis Ababa under the theme The Role of Scholars in Ethiopia's Rise. The Prime Minister, who was present at the forum, urged scholars to discharge their responsibility in the ongoing effort to realizing a better Ethiopia. He said that much is expected, especially from scholars, in order to tackle the multifaceted and complex problems of Ethiopia. Our problems will be solved when all of us are able to work together, the Prime Minister said in his social media post. In order to build a society that will be able to respect knowledge and intellectuals, the government and scholars must work together for one country, he underscored. Prime Minister Abiy also expressed his government's readiness to work more closely with scholars to realize a prosperous Ethiopia. The peace agreement signed in South Africa between the Ethiopian government and TPLF has opened the door for conducting pre-national dialogue activities, said Dr. Jonas Adaye, Commissioner of the National Dialogue Commission. He interested Ethiopians to repeat the active participation they are doing to the Renaissance Dam, the implementation of the peace agreement, and the success of the National Consultation Forum. Pellet Etarageng takes up the story.
The evil-minded and self-centered politicians and conspirators have made Ethiopians look at each other with hatred instead of caring for each other so as to fulfill their hidden agendas. The sense of alienation and trade created in their motherland is an obstacle to move forward as a country, and the government of Ethiopia is in the process of holding national dialogue activities to set a lasting solution. Dr. Jonas Adaye, Commissioner of the National Dialogue Commission and Associate Professor of Peace Study in Addis Ababa University, said to Amhara Media Corporation that the peace accord signed in between the government of Ethiopia and TPLF has unlocked the gate for conducting pre-national dialogue activities.
Peace agreement sparks the hope. To be honest, it ignites imagination. It awakens those people who were depressed by being desperate, losing hope. That is fundamental answer to the question, to be honest. You know, this peace is a positive force. So the very agreement itself immediately gives people hope for life. And most importantly, we were to go to the third country so as to engage people from Tigray, such as Nairobi or Djibouti or somewhere else. But now it has paved the way for us to go straight to Meghalaya rather than going somewhere else. So that is also another, impetus, i.e. encouragement for us to engage. So peace agreement definitely opened up our hope, and I can say it is an indication of laying foundation for sustainable peace in Ethiopia.
Dr. Jonas stressed that Africans have confirmed that they are capable of solving their problems independently. Likewise, pre-national dialogue activities are being undertaken carefully, and it doesn't fall under external influence.
To use the old adage, no man is an island, which means in modern English, no person is an island. We all are related with each other, and no country is also an island. Africa also are related with the West as well as with the East. We do business together at the same time. We are not really an island. It is impossible for any country to be alone. Cooperation is very important because Africa's Ubuntu philosophy is I am, because we are. We think that communal thinking rather than individualized way. I know everything. My way is super. That's a dangerous one. That really led the whole world into catastrophe and chaos. But the best way out definitely is we are smart. We are better together. That is the philosophy now emerging. This togetherness. You don't expect unipolar world. Superpower. No, we are expecting now a new world order emerging, multipolar world. Economic might such as China coming up, to be honest. Not only masterminded by the West, but also others are to come together and work together. So African solution then is definitely a contribution from Africa as well. We're also expecting Africa's voice in the UN Security Council shortly.
Dr. Enas explained that Ethiopians have shown the power of unity in the victory of Adwa and in the construction of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam project. Hence, he entrusted Ethiopians to repeat their active participation for the implementation of the peace agreement and the success of the national dialogue.
Humbly requesting the Ethiopian people to show the commitment they showed for the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. That commitment must be out there again. We like to see the same commitment for the success of Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission. All professionals, farmers, pastoralists across our country as well, they all really, as usual, hand in hand, let's rise and support the Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission. And don't forget the prayer. Prayer has transcendental power to change, to make the impossible possible. So we also respectfully ask our priests, our spiritual leaders as a whole, to pray for us incessantly, non-stoppingly as well, until we see the dawn of Ethiopia, this darkness, this distorted image into bright image.
Elites were preaching and carrying out distractions and operations on people, and this has to be stopped. According to him, the opportunity has to be given for the people since they are capable of settling problems, and this is the main aim of the national dialogue.
Ministry vows to consolidate diplomatic activities and expand achievements in the new year. According to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ethiopia will further consolidate its diplomatic activities and expand the achievements gained in the field. Lugradi Zaudu tells us more.
Briefing the media, Foreign Affairs spokesperson Melissa Alam said the ministry will focus on image building and scaling up diplomatic relations next year. He added, raising resources by mobilizing the diaspora, expanding international finance access, attracting investment flows, and raising funds for reconstruction and rehabilitation, among others, are also the main areas of activities. The spokesperson stated lots of efforts are expected from diplomats to strengthen and expand the achievements that the country has gained despite many challenges. To realize this, training has been given to Ethiopian ambassadors starting from December 16. It was learned that the training focused on the measures the government is undertaking on the implementation of the peace agreement, renewing diplomatic relations after the peace agreement, promoting foreign direct investment, and other related issues. Meanwhile, the spokesperson stated that the peace agreement has been widely accepted by the international community and things are returning to normal in the field of diplomacy. He noted Ethiopia's partners from near and far have expressed their desire to provide support. President of the Transitional Sovereign Council of Sudan, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has expressed his satisfaction over the signing of a peace agreement between the Ethiopian government and the TPLF, and he affirmed Sudan's unwavering support for its full implementation. The United States, the European Union, the Middle East, Asia, and the Pacific countries also expressed their support for the peace agreement through their ambassadors. Moreover, the European Union, through its partners UNICEF and World Food Programme, has extended 33 million euros aid to restore essential education services and implement school feeding programs so that children living in conflict-affected areas can get back to learning. It also donated 38 million euros to support conflict-affected health and education sectors in Ethiopia. The spokesperson finally underlined that the government of Ethiopia is working with commitment to effectively implement the peace agreement.
Government party leaders said government's effort in providing humanitarian aid supply and rehabilitation is appreciable. Political party leaders have expressed their appreciation to the government's effort in delivering humanitarian aid and rehabilitation efforts in Tigray region. Brown Workana has the details.
They have also called on all to support the government's effort, leaving aside their differences. recalled that the government of Ethiopia and TPLF signed a peace agreement to permanently resolve the conflict in Pretoria, South Africa on 2nd November 2022. Following the peace agreement, the Ethiopian government has been facilitating humanitarian support through all the 4 corridors and by air to the people of Tigray. Efforts are also underway to restore basic services and rehabilitate infrastructures damaged due to the conflict. Competing political party leaders approached by the Ethiopian news agency have commended the peace agreement and the government's ongoing efforts to provide humanitarian aid and rehabilitate basic services in the region. Tigray Democratic Party chairperson Argai Berhe said the agreement reached to solve the problem in northern Ethiopia permanently has pleased peace lovers. According to him, the government's effort in delivering humanitarian aid and reconstruction is also laudable, noting that the conflict in the northern part of the country has caused chaos in social, political and economic spheres. He added that peaceful resolution to the conflict has multifaceted benefit. Argai further stressed that all need to stand in safeguarding the peace, as it is essential to ensure the guarantee of services of citizens, development of the nation and stability. The peace agreement is a big step. The importance of peace for development or stable life is unquestionable. Hence, the agreement is very commendable as it provides peace and stability, particularly to the people of Tigray and neighboring regions. The effort made by the government to bring peace in the region has borne fruit, and this is pleasing. All of us need to support the government's effort in delivering humanitarian aid, rehabilitation and restoration of basic services that is underway following the peace agreement, he said. All Ethiopian Unity Party President Mamouchet Amhara said on his part the peace agreement is crucial for public peace and the existence of Ethiopia. He also appreciated the government's effort to support the needy and rehabilitate the internally displaced people. The president urged all the pertinent bodies, including foreign aid agencies, to support the government's effort.
ትግራይ ላይ ተፈናቅሎ ያለ ህዝብ አለ አማራ ላይ ተፈናቅሎ ያለ ህዝብ አለ አፋር ተፈናቅሎ ያለ ህዝብ አለ
There are people displaced in Tigray, Amhara and Afar regions. There is a need to provide humanitarian aid for all these people equally. It is vital to supply them with food and clothes. There is also a need for emergency humanitarian aid and health services to the people. The displaced must be resettled to their permanent life. In this regard, NGOs, investors, civil organizations must support the government's effort.
ይህንን አስተዋጽኦ ማበርከት ከእያንዳንዱ ይጠበቃል።
Anat Party Public Relations Head Yaya Hasmara said the peace agreement and the effort intensified to implement is commendable. All need to be committed for the implementation of the peace agreement, he stressed. According to him, anyone who tries to disrupt the peace agreement is against peace, and all of us need to stand firm against this and promote peace. The agreement of cessation of hostilities is commendable. It is only the children and mothers who reside in the war zone that really understand the significance of the ceasefire agreement. The idea to stop fighting and discuss the other problems and find solutions later is commendable. However, the two parties should work in order to implement the agreement until the end.
ሁለቱ ተደራዳሪ ወገኖች በሬት ላይ ሊወርድ በሚችል መልኩ መስራት አለባቸው.
He also called on all citizens to play their part for the implementation of the peace agreement.
Ministry of Agriculture stated that over 42% of land covered with crops in summer season is harvested. Ministry of Agriculture announced that more than 42% of the 13.4 million hectares of land covered by crops during the summer season have been harvested. Modomuli reports.
Ministry of Agriculture Crop Development Head Isaias Lemma told Ethiopian news agency that the nation expects to produce 400 million quintal of various crops during this season. He said that 5.8 million of the 13.4 million hectares of land covered with seeds have so far been harvested with the help of modern and traditional equipment. The introduction of modernization to the process of agricultural activities, including agricultural mechanization machines and cluster farming, coupled with better preparation and favorable climate conditions, are improving the production process and are expected to yield produces more than planned, it was indicated. According to Isaias, the government is supporting farmers with agricultural mechanization machines such as tractors and combine harvesters, as well as the cultivation of 6 million hectares of land under the cluster farming system. He believes that the country will get more produce than the plan as a result of better preparation and favorable climate in the process. Stating that 6 million hectares of land have been cultivated under cluster farming, Isaias said the number of crops included in the cluster farming raised to 10 this year to increase production and productivity in the sector. Noting that the use of modern technology is also improving and about 3 million hectares of land have been cultivated with tractors, he said modern harvesting machines have been put to work in a better way than last year to reduce the loss of production during crop harvesting. Production loss is decreasing every year, Isaiah said, adding that various awareness-raising activities have been done, especially for farmers, to reduce production loss during harvesting and storage until it's marketed and good results are being achieved. The government has allowed a large number of combiners to be brought in and used by associations duty-free and that achieved good results in the last 2 years. Farmers should strengthen their efforts to save their produce from waste by cleaning both traditional and modern warehouses, he recommended. He further called on stakeholders to do their part to achieve the goal of self-sufficiency in crop production as a country.
Industrialized nations urged to support efforts of digitalization in developing countries. Members of the European Parliament, Mea Petra Kumpula-Natri, urged industrialized nations to provide the necessary support to developing countries in their efforts to become digitalized. Groundwork and tells us more.
The 17th Global Internet Governance Forum hosted by Ethiopia has successfully been concluded in Addis Ababa on Friday. More than 5,000 from across the globe have participated as the IGF, including government officials, representatives of the private sector, academic institutions, among others. Members of the Parliament as the European Union, Mea Petra Kumpula-Natri, who participated at the forum, told INA that connectivity is crucial for the development of any country. According to her, it would be difficult to think of quick development without connectivity, as it is important in every aspect of life.
Having the connectivity, it creates a possibility for development. So I think without connectivity, there's not quick development. So it's very important as economical terms, the governance, but then also for individuals to be empowered. So I hope the young people will find new ideas and then start having their own building their life with the more educated knowledge, and then also having possibilities to have disruptive ideas.
She mentioned that the European Union, having many development projects and new initiatives, has been providing support to help Africans build their infrastructure in technologies in this regard.
European Union is having many projects as a development projects, but also new initiatives like the Global Gateway, where we find African partnerships also to build the infrastructure, and not to forget that infrastructure needs on top activities, and these kind of partnerships together we will help them, the countries also to build the whole internet life.
The Member of Parliament said countries are making progress as they have given a great deal of attention to technology, artificial intelligence, ICT and internet connectivity. In this regard, developed nations should support developing countries in order to enable them access to digital technologies at the global level. Building digital economy is vital to inculcate the use with innovation and knowledge, the Member of Parliament added.
So that is where the power of the government is needed to design the model, even it's private. So also there I am knowing some European companies and countries already establishing big infrastructure investments, and I hope that will bring the digitalization of Ethiopia forward very quickly.
She has also commended Ethiopia's move to expand digital economy by opening up the telecom sector to private sector. The ongoing measures taken by the government will help to expedite the efforts to build digital economy in the country, she pointed out. She has also commended Ethiopia's move to expand digital economy by opening up the telecom sector to private sector. The ongoing measures taken by the government will help to expedite the efforts to build digital economy in the country, she pointed out.
Chief Executive Officer of Japanese companies said they consider Ethiopia as their potential investment destination. Ethiopian embassy in Tokyo hosted an investment seminar that attracted representatives from 13 different companies engaged in the energy, construction, agro-processing and ICT industries. Abebe Burhani has the details.
In his introductory remarks, Ethiopian ambassador to Japan, Teferra Derebo Imam, noted that Ethiopia and Japan have had a long-standing diplomatic relationship and that it is crucial to strengthen that partnership through trade and investment. Additionally, Ambassador Teferra called the participants to invest in Ethiopia by highlighting the numerous prospects the country offers to Japanese investors in a variety of sectors. On the seminar, participants were briefed about Ethiopia's investment opportunities, laws, incentives, favorable economic climate and infrastructure. Priority sectors for investment, including agro-processing, textiles and apparel, pharmaceuticals, minerals and ICT were also covered in detail. According to Ethiopian Embassy in Japan, representatives from 13 different companies that are engaged in the energy, construction, agro-processing and ICT industries attended the seminar. The attendees said that they got valuable information about investment options in Ethiopia and will consider Ethiopia as their potential investment destination.
Ethiopia generates more than $500 million from coffee export in 4 months of fiscal year. Ethiopia has earned $526 million from coffee export during the first 4 months of Ethiopian current fiscal year, according to Ethiopian Coffee and Tea Authority. Abebe Burhani reports.
The Ethiopian Coffee and Tea Authority held consultations yesterday with coffee experts of several countries, including Colombia and Spain. During the occasion, Director General of the authority briefed the participants about the 4 months performance of coffee production and marketing activities of the country. According to him, the nation has earned $526 million from coffee export during the first 4 months of the fiscal year. He added that the export performance registered during the stated period has shown an increase of $126 million compared to the previous fiscal year same period, noting that Ethiopia has planned to export 810,000 tons of coffee to the international market to obtain $2 billion during the current fiscal year. The Director General stated the performance so far registered is encouraging. It is to be recalled that Ethiopia had obtained a recorded hit $1.4 billion from coffee export during the previous Ethiopian fiscal year that was concluded on the 7th of July 2022. The nation earned $1.4 billion by exporting 300,000 tons of coffee to the international market. It was indicated during the occasion that Germany is the largest buyer of Ethiopian coffee, followed by United States and Saudi Arabia.
You're watching AMECO Haber English service, and now let's proceed to news beyond borders. Parliament postpones vote on Ramaphosa impeachment. South Africa's parliament decided on Monday night to postpone by a week a long-awaited vote on whether to launch impeachment proceedings against President Cyril Ramaphosa at the heart of a corruption scandal, the Speaker of the Assembly announced. The vote was originally scheduled for Tuesday, but we have all agreed on the date of December 13, said Nosiviwe, justifying the move by the need to give each elected official time to travel to Cape Town, the seat of parliament, for a face-to-face vote. Earlier on Monday, the ruling party, African Nation Progress ANC, gave its full support to President Cyril Ramaphosa in the wake of a scandal, announcing that its members in parliament, where they have a majority, would vote against impeachment proceedings. ANC Secretary General Paul Mashitle said this in a news conference after a meeting of the party's top brass in Johannesburg. There was pressure last week from some quarters of Ramaphosa to quit or be forced from office over what has become known as the Fala Fala affair. The case dates back to June, when a former spy boss filed a complaint with the police alleging that Ramaphosa had hidden the February 2020 vulgarity from the authorities. He accused the president of having organized for the robbers to be kidnapped and bribed into silence. Burkina Faso bans French radio for airing terrorist propaganda. The Burkina government spokesman announced that Burkina Faso on Saturday ordered the immediate suspension and until further notice of Radio France International, accusing it of having relayed an intimidation message attributed to a terrorist leader. Brown Workner presents the story.
Burkina Faso have supported a government ban on Radio France International, which has been accused of broadcasting propaganda supporting terrorists.
By having relayed this message, Radio France International is thus contributing to a desperate maneuver by terrorist groups to dissuade the thousands of Burkinabés mobilized in a defense of their country, said a statement signed by the spokesman Jean-Emmanuel Odarogo. At the beginning of the week, the group, with the support of Islam and Muslims affiliated to Al-Qaeda, had broadcast a video in which one of its leaders in Burkina Faso threatened to attack villages defended by volunteers for the defense of the homeland, civilian auxiliaries of the military, which has just recruited 90,000 in 3 weeks to cope with the increase in jihadist attacks. The government also criticizes Radio France International, a French public radio, for having included in its press review on Friday a misleading information indicating that the president of the transition, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, assured that an attempted coup d'etat has targeted his power. The communique recalled that on 3 November, the government had already expressed its indignation at the tendentious attitude of journalists of this media, Radio France International, and their propensity to discredit the struggle in which the Burkinabé people are engaged for more freedom and dignity. In view of the above, the government has decided to suspend Radio France International's broadcasting throughout the country until further notice, he added. The management of Radio France International deeply regrets this decision and protests against the totally unfounded accusations that call into question the professionalism of its stations, it said in a statement on Saturday evening. The decision to cut off Radio France International's broadcasting service was taken without prior notice and without implementing the procedures laid down in the Radio France International broadcasting agreement drawn by Burkina Faso's Higher Council for Communication, it said. It added that the France Media's Monde group, to which Radio France International belongs, will explore all avenues to restore Radio France International's broadcasting and reiterates its unwavering commitment to the freedom to inform and the professional work of its journalists. According to Radio France International's management, the radio station is heard every week in Burkina Faso by more than 40% of the population and more than 70% of opinion leaders. An AFP journalist in Ouagadougou noted the radio station could no longer be heard. The government nonetheless reaffirmed to national and international opinion its commitment to press freedom and freedom of opinion and the public's right to information, but invites it to respect the rules and principles governing the media. Burkina, the scene of 2 military coups in 8 months and plowed by jihadist violence since 2015, is the second country in the region to ban Radio France Internationally this year, after Mali, which was ruled by military putschists and hit by jihadists in March.
This is AMECO Haber English Service, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful time.